This is the Rolex GMT Master II, reference 126710 BLRO, famously known as the Pepsi. I've owned this watch for over a year now, and within that time, it's seen some interesting interactions. I'll be going over what I've come to like and dislike about the watch and share my experience with the timepiece thus far. The best thing about this watch is also the worst thing about it, and that's the bezel. There's no doubt that this blue and red combination is a winner. It wouldn't have garnered such popularity in the first place, and it embodies so much heritage and history in the GMT Master II line. However, it's this same popularity that makes the watch difficult to obtain and gives it a negative connotation for many people. The blue and red give the watch a nice pop of color and does so without being over the top, maintaining a classic and balanced look when combined with its black dial. The bezel is the point of interest here, and having that black dial contrast the colourful bezel allows the bezel to take center stage, in itself highlighting its function, which is very fitting for a GMT watch. This bezel combination also makes it instantly recognisable, given how iconic it's become over the course of the GMT Master II lineage. It retains the DNA of its predecessors and applies it to modern materials for a refreshing appearance, and while I think it looks fantastic, the ceramic insert and lacquered dial do give the watch a very glossy look, so that is something to consider, as it does increase the flashiness of the watch and attracts attention, which this watch definitely does. Of all the watches I own, this one receives the most comments from people when I wear it. The bezel, especially the red part, is the main eye catcher, and as cliche as it sounds, there have been numerous times where it's been the conversation starter, usually along the lines of, "That's a nice watch. How much was it? How did you get it?" Then into the more interesting topics of what's in your collection or what will be your next watch. The BLRO is a great tool to have to start a conversation, especially when I'm the one being approached in a place where I'm unsure if others around me are watch people. But I feel as though the discussions surrounding the watch are never really about the watch itself, more so about its monetary value. This bezel has in a way become tainted. It's no longer an heirloom of the past, but a reminder of Rolex's present day predicament, and one that's hard to look past. Regardless, this watch has presented me with many opportunities, and I've met and talked to a bunch of great people because of it. If we disregard the whole Rolex situation and just take the watch as it is, it's an awesome timepiece. Rolex gets a lot of hate, but there's no denying that they make good watches, and this GMT is no exception. While its construction may seem a little basic, it's incredibly well built with some of the tightest tolerances I've experienced in any of the watches I've handled over the years. The finishing is fantastic throughout, and its architecture and proportions give it an imposing edge over a lot of other timepieces. Even after a year, I still think this GMT is the best modern Rolex and really encapsulates what Rolex is today. It's a sporty piece with the ever popular maxi style case and Jubilee bracelet, but is executed in a flashy manner to give it some added versatility. Its bezel colors continue to draw on its rich history and give it a striking appearance which captures the attention of others, and is a reminder of the significance its older siblings played in forming the GMT DNA and influence it had on other watches. The fact that it's a GMT also ties into Rolex's global presence, a powerhouse brand and a powerhouse watch. It's a professional timepiece fit for formal and casual occasions, and in both situations it's worked out fine for me. The colors make the watch fun and interesting, and their darker hue give it a subtleness and maturity that seems to work with suits and more formal attire. And despite its 12mm thickness, it manages to slide under the cuff because of the way the caseback sinks into the wrist, effectively reducing its height by a few millimeters when worn. Now, some of you know I'm a big fan of bracelets, and the bracelet here is very well done. The end links of this Jubilee have this flowing effect where they effortlessly meet with the watch head and just creates a seamless continuation of the links. It's a small detail, but it's one I'm yet to grow tired of. The Jubilee itself is extremely comfortable as it wraps around the wrist with ease, and the whole watch just feels exceptionally solid. there is something that continues to be a nuisance, and that's the case profile. Turn the watch to the side and we are met with a rather flat silhouette. This is what contributes to its boxy slab look, which I'm a fan of. However, the drawback is an awkward sitting watch for smaller wrists. My wrist size is 6.5 inches and there's a clear gap on either side of the watch head near the lug tips when worn, which is a bit of an eyesore. This does make it feel a little unbalanced on the wrist, and while it may look bad, in reality it doesn't feel as bad as it looks, but is definitely something to consider. On first impressions, this could be a huge deal breaker for some, but after a year of ownership, I've come to expect the way it fits and don't notice the gaps as much during wear. Even when I go to check the time, the way the bracelet slopes from the case creates an illusion of a better fitting watch, so while the flat nature of the case is an issue, it's one I'm willing to live with. I will say though, the short links of the Jubilee do help to alleviate the ill fitment and do most of the heavy lifting in facilitating a comfortable wearing experience. The Jubilee bracelet is in itself an icon, and its polished center links and busy appearance match the watch head nicely and is what elevates the watch to a more flashier piece. Now let's talk about price. There's no ignoring the fact that this GMT Master II goes for a premium on the secondary market, which in all honesty boosts its desirability. The prices can be a little ridiculous, and considering the watch as it is, I don't think it's worth the secondary prices at all. There are much better options at that price point in terms of horological value and craftsmanship, but watches don't sell for a premium without a reason, so it's proven to be an extremely popular piece and people are willing to pay for it. I'm from Australia and the retail price may differ depending on where you're from, but if we look at its current retail price of 17,850 Australian dollars, I'm not sure if I could recommend it either. If this was a few years ago, it could have made a case for itself, but Rolex have implemented multiple price increases over the years and this watch has crept up in price rather quickly, making it harder to afford and justify. The sad part is though, if you're offered this watch from an authorized retailer, I would definitely recommend jumping on it, simply because of its secondary value. While its retail price is quite high, it's better than paying the secondary market markup if it's a watch you're really after. Overall, the GMT Master II 126710 BLRO has been a joy to own. It's a reliable and versatile timepiece that provides a touch of color to any attire and has been incredibly accurate over the time I've spent with it, seeing roughly +1 second a day on average. It's a damn good watch that does a good job at bringing its heritage into the modern world, and while I do believe it's the best modern Rolex, it comes at a steep price, both at retail and at secondary markets. The watch definitely comes with its own set of stigmas too, and even though I'm proud to have worked my way to be able to afford it, I've had my fair share of negative comments aimed towards it when it's been featured on the channel, which does ruin the experience of ownership a little. Nevertheless, it's a watch I'll continue to enjoy on my wrist and one that represents the achievements I've made and the people I've met along the way. Let me know your thoughts on this GMT Master II. If you own one or have had one in the past, share your experience with it. I'm always eager to hear others' perspectives and stories about their watches. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section, and if you like the video, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more watch content. Thank you for checking out the video, and I'll see you in the next one.